Hello, welcome to the Global Impact Virtual Conference hosted by ISTE community leaders. My name is Svitlana Chukanova. I am head of Research Libraries Sector, senior lecturer, and Victor Kitaste American Library Coordinator at the National University of Kyiv-Mohyla Academy and trainer of the Academy of Digital Development LLC. And I live in Kyiv, Ukraine. This session is titled The Ways to Find Research Data for Secondary Analysis and Reuse, and will cover where researchers and scholars can find data for their research. We will regard dataset search from Google and res3data.org registry for finding relevant data repositories. Research data holds significant importance for secondary analysis and reuse, offering a multitude of benefits for researchers and scientific progress as a whole. Here is a breakdown of its key advantages. Efficiency and cost-effectiveness. Reusing existing data eliminates the need for researchers to gather information from scratch. This saves them considerable time, effort, and financial resources that can be directed towards analysis and interpretation. New research questions and insights. Existing data can be explored through new lenses to address fresh research questions not considered in the original study. This fosters a deeper understanding of the topic and potentially uncovers novel relationships or trends. Large-scale studies and diverse samples. Secondary analysis allows researchers to leverage datasets encompassing vast populations or demographics that might be impractical to or expensive to collect themselves. This broadens the scope of inquiry and strengthens the generalization of findings. Advanced statistical techniques. Large data sets from previous research can be employed to utilize more sophisticated statistical methods that might not be feasible with smaller, newly collected data sets. This can lead to more robust and conclusive results. Replication and validation. Secondary analysis can be used to replicate the findings of prior studies, fostering transparency and validating the original research. This strengthens the credibility of scientific knowledge. Overall, access to well-documented and well-maintained research data fosters a more efficient and productive research landscape, accelerating scientific discovery and knowledge accumulation. And now let's proceed to the ways how actually researchers can find research data. And we will start with the registry of data repositories, res3data.org. res3data.org, or Registry of Research Data Repositories, is an invaluable tool for researchers looking to find data for secondary analysis and reuse. It functions as a global registry specifically for research data repositories across various academic disciplines. Here's how res3data.org can be helpful in data search. Extensive repository index. res3data.org boasts a curated index of over 3,000 research data repositories worldwide. This expansive collection provides a high chance of finding relevant datasets for your specific research needs. Search filters. The website allows you to filter your search based on various criteria such as subject area, data types, access conditions, keywords. This targeted search approach saves you time and effort by focusing on repositories most likely to contain suitable data. Detailed repository information. res3data.org provides comprehensive information for each listed repository. This includes details about the types of data stored, access procedures, costs, if any, and any specific requirements or guidelines for using the data. Support for open science. By promoting data discovery and reuse, res3data.org aligns with the principles of open science. This fosters research transparency, collaboration, and ultimately accelerates scientific progress. In essence, res3data.org acts as a central hub connecting researchers with a vast network of potential data sources. It streamlines the data discovery process and empowers you to make informed decisions about the data sets you choose to utilize in your research. And now, let us observe how this tool works. So, when we use resfreedata.org, located at resfreedata.org, the first what we see is a central search box. We see that it is a registry of research data repositories. We see the search box. In upper right corner, we see search, browse, suggest, resources. And we may use either keywords in search box, or we can choose browse by subject, by content type, or by country. Let us see these three options. When we choose browse by subject, we can see these graphics, and what we see that the central part of the circle is divided for four sectors: engineering science, humanities and social science, life science, natural science. For example, we choose humanities, and we see that it is divided between social and behavioral science, humanities. Let us choose humanities. Then we can see the further subcategories, for example, literary studies, linguistics, fine arts, etc. Let us choose, for example, philosophy. And then we can see practical philosophy, history of philosophy, theoretical philosophy. So let us choose practical philosophy. And we see that there is, so far there are no results for practical philosophy. We also can use not only this circle when we browse by subject, but we can use the text version. For example, if I'd like to use humanities, and I'd like to see philosophy, I just click from this tree on philosophy and see the list of repositories. Where can I find the data, or where can I upload the data? When I found a repository which might be interesting for me, I can read its detailed information on a separate page, and I can proceed to the repository by using URL in this description. I just click on the link, and now I'm redirected to the repository. This particular repository requires from me a login and password, but there are repositories that don't. So it varies depending on a location, depending on the institution where the repository is located. If I'd like to browse, for example, by content type, I can choose archive data, audiovisual data, configuration data, databases, etc. For example, I'm interested in images. I click on images and I receive the list of repositories containing images as a research data. Pay your attention on the filters on the left. you can add some filters. For example, I'm interested in repositories in Austria. So I click on Austria and I will filter my results. The result will be 18 repositories located in Austria and containing images. So I can add any filters I like. And also, if we would like to browse by country, we may use either this map or we can use a text version. For example, I'm interested how many repositories located in Ukraine, in my country, and by clicking on the flag of my country, I can see that there are 2 repositories. And I can observe detailed information about it. And I can check the repository and how it works. So that is how res3data.org tool works and how we can find data for secondary reuse. The next tool for finding data for secondary use is Google Dataset Search. It is a tool designed specifically to help researchers find freely available datasets online. Launched in 2018, it targets researchers and data journalists by providing a search engine for public datasets. Google Dataset Search acts as a valuable starting point for researchers seeking data to fuel their projects. It streamlines the discovery process and promotes the reuse of existing data, ultimately contributing to scientific advancement. Google Dataset Search assists you in finding data. In an extensive search, it indexes datasets from various sources across the web, including academic repositories, government websites, and other public platforms. User-friendly interface. The search interface is designed for clarity, allowing you to search by keywords, filter by specific criteria like topic, format, or source. It's freely available datasets. It focuses on surfacing datasets that are openly accessible for researchers to use without restrictions. And of course, improved discoverability. By providing a central platform for public datasets, Google Dataset Search saves researchers time, effort in locating relevant data for their studies. So it's very useful mechanism, and let us see how it actually works. So we are using Google Dataset Search, and when we type datasetsearch.research.google.com, we can see this tool. It has very simple structure. In the middle of the website, we can see a search box where we can use keywords in order to find necessary data sets. I need to say that it is useful to be logged into your Google account in order to keep track of your searches. You can just save your searches when you logged into your Google account, so it will help. In the left bottom corner, you can see the button for switching language. And we can see also some data sets to practice. So for example, we can just click on these hints, coronavirus COVID-19 or water quality site Canada. And we will see that this hint is processed like keyword. So practically any keyword might be used here in the search box. For example, if I just remove the concretization of website, I will receive much more resources, not only from Canada. Please pay attention to the filters located underneath a search box, so we can use the filter last updated, for example, past year. Download format. For example, we are interested in documents. Usage rise, non-commercial. Topic, life science. Provider, let us choose several providers. And free, so freely available. So on the left corner, we can see the list of data sets which we received after applying filters. We can clear filters and go back to our initial search result anytime. Please pay attention to the button Saved Datasets. By clicking on this button, we will go to our inner library with already saved datasets. But now let us see. For example, if we choose a dataset on the left, here on the right, the majority of our screen is occupied by the description of this data set, and we can see the metadata of it. So we can see the name, we can see the link where it is located and what repository. We can see that there are scholarly articles connected with this data set, and we can observe them in Google Scholar. So Google Dataset Search is also connected with Google Scholar. So we can see the particularly scholarly publications connected to this data set, and we can read them. We can see unique identifier, information when the dataset was last updated, information about the provider, authors, license, and description of the dataset. If we are interested to work with this dataset in the future, we can save it to our library. That's why I indicated that it is important to be logged in into your Google account. We can cite this data set, for example, if we use it in our scholarly publication, so we can use it as a material, so we need to cite it as any material we use, the same as we do with publications, and we can share the link to this data set in social media, or we can email it to our colleague. If we proceed to the repository, we will see this data set. So that's how it works. The majority of repositories gives us an opportunity to see the visualization even without downloading it, so we can just view necessary files and work with the data just from the repository, as I do on this example. I even didn't log in I just have access to the data and can see the metrics of its usage and any necessary information, and especially keywords used to index this dataset. I go back to Google Dataset Search. And for example, let us observe saved datasets. So here I have 3 saved datasets. And the last one, which we worked, is here. So here is my personal library of the datasets I'm interested in. For example, if I'm not interested in dataset anymore, I can just unsave it by clicking on this button again. And now I have 2 datasets saved in my list. By clicking on a Google indicator in left upper corner, I go back to the central page with search box. Here we have also in upper right corner help button and feedback button. And also we have a link underneath a search box. Learn more about dataset search, leading us to a blog where we can read new information about Google Dataset Search. And help button help leads us to User Support Center, where we also can find up-to-date information about dataset search, for example, user guide, and so on. So that is how Google Dataset Search helps us to find data for reuse. So this presentation briefly told you that there are many ways to find research data for secondary use in order to flourish your research by saving your time and using data we can rely on. And some particular cases regarded were using Registry of Data Repositories, RESRIData.org, and search tool from Google, which is called Google Dataset Search. Thanks again for watching this session as a part of a Global Impact Virtual Conference hosted by ISTE community leaders. Please watch other sessions, including those pre-recorded and those offered live. You can join in the conversation throughout the conference on ISTE Connect and on social media using hashtag ISTE Global and hashtag ISTE Community. Thank you very much, and hope this information was useful for you.